Good afternoon. Thank you very much indeed for joining us today for the webinar. So today's event is really to give you all the information that you need about our BA On's music production and DJ performance. My name's John. I'm one of the senior course advisors here today. I'm going to be bringing you through the event. We're also joined by Ben Bristow, who is actually the program leader for this particular degree. So there's basically nobody who knows more about it than Ben. So thanks very much for joining us.
Great to be here.
Excellent stuff. So just to kind of give you an idea, we've got a great event in store for you today. I'm just going to give you a bit more information about kind of what we do and what it's like to kind of come and study with us. A little bit later on, Ben is going to go into the program in a lot more detail, and he's also going to be demonstrating some of the techniques that we cover on the DJ modules, learning how to use some of the gear that you can see in front of you here. Make sure you hang around for that. As well as that, we're also going to have a Q&A section, so if you have any questions at all about coming and studying with us, just get them in the chat room. My colleague Luke is behind the scenes. He's going to be answering some of the questions as we're going along. We're broadcasting live now from our campus here in London, but we're all over the whole planet, so do let us know where you're tuning in from. I will give you a bit of a shout out in just a little while. So first things first, I just wanted to play you a brief kind of a video just to give you an overview about the degree itself and what you can expect when you come and study with us. You'll see Ben in another from previously, so please sit back, enjoy, and we'll catch up in just a bit.
Here at Point Blank, we offer a variety of modules from essential to advanced and creative. Whatever level you come in as a student, we want to take you and level you up. Teach you some new skills, teach you about the hardware, teach you about the software, and what it is to actually be a DJ out there in the real world. How to get gigs, how to prepare for a set, and how to be on top of your game.
I've never done any music production before, but what I've learned so far has helped me also with my DJing, so I'm really enjoying it.
You know, there's always a conversation going on about something related to music, and I think that's just one of the great things about studying here, is the fact that you're going to meet other people and just connect over music.
There's 3 DJ modules in the music production and DJ performance pathway. So essential DJ skills at level 4, creative DJ skills at level 5, and then advanced DJ skills at level 6. They'll also learn music business related topics. So there's a music industry module at level 4, marketing and branding at level 5, and then music entrepreneur at level 6. So that's the kind of music business thread. And then there's more performance-based modules like electronic music performance. So they'll learn how to connect different bits of hardware and choose or design their own live performance instrument. And then modules like the VJ skills module. So learning how to use software like Resolume, how to plan out a visual kind of performance space and the type of visuals that they might use to accompany their own DJ sets or performing as a VJ. I mean, I wish I'd done a course like this right at the beginning. I would have saved myself years of practicing on my own, trying to work out things, and then realizing years later that actually I could have been doing it that way, and that's the much more effective way of doing it. And obviously the access to all the equipment. We've got state-of-the-art studios where students can come and practice. We're very dynamic as an organisation, so we'll always try and make our modules current and relevant and incorporate new developments into syllabus or assignment brief, so it's kind of preparing students for how the industry is currently. The students who are the most successful are the ones who are proactive. They spend their time while they're studying with us networking, going to as many activities and masterclasses and extracurricular events that they can, pushing their music, collaborating with other students and trying to get a team together so they've got different people who've got different skills. So it's all about collaboration. No one in the music industry is successful through working solely on their own in an isolated room. You have to be able to collaborate with people and build a network that's going to help you in your future.
You have fun here and you meet so many interesting people from all over Europe and the world, and I think that's brilliant, really.
It's everything I thought it'd be, plus more.
Great stuff. So hopefully that's given you a bit of an overview of what some of our students have been doing since coming and studying with us, and just give you a bit of a flavour of what Ben and his team will be teaching you. Listen, I can see we've got people who've been joining us from all over. We've got Errol in Portsmouth, we've got Tegan in North Carolina. I think we've been speaking on email, in fact. People joining us from Germany and India, from London, Goran from Croatia. I believe you were here yesterday, in fact, as well, so great to have you with us again. So fantastic to see people joining us from all over the world. We do have students from everywhere come and join us in London. So thank you very much indeed for being here. And as I say, just get any questions in that you have throughout the whole event. We'll be answering them a little bit later on. But for now, just wanted to get into a bit more about the actual degree itself. So it's a Bachelor of Arts with Honours degree, which is validated by our partner Middlesex University. So essentially what that means is we write and deliver all of the courses ourselves here in our London campus, but the qualification is validated by Middlesex. So you can actually get the qualification from their university, and you can even go to a graduation ceremony, get the cap and gown if you wanted to do so. We have two different options available for this course. We have a more traditional 3-year pathway, which would be very similar to what you might be familiar with if, like a school year, studying from kind of September to June, then having the summer off, then coming back in the following September for your second year. But we also offer a 2-year, what's known as an accelerated pathway. So basically what that means is that instead of having the traditional breaks, you'd study for 24 months concurrently. So the actual qualification is identical. It just means that you would finish in a shorter space of time, get you out into the industry. If you've got any kind of queries about that, just drop them in the chat room. We'll be happy to go into a bit more detail. So we actually are a little bit different from some other unis where we've actually got 3 start dates every year. We've got one coming up in September, but then we also have a January one and an April one as well. So just a little bit about the actual the study modes and the timetable. It's considered a full-time program. Basically we're going to keep you busy. There's going to be a lot of things for you to do. Typically you'll have between 2 and 3 days of actual lectures per week with people like Ben and his team. But outside of that, it's really encouraged to kind of come in and use the facilities to get the most out of coming and studying with us. So we have a range of different facilities that you'll be able to book out. Like Studio 5 that we're in at the moment, you can see we've loads of different pieces of kit and equipment. It's all available for our students to come in and use 7 days a week, as well as obviously our DJ studios. Basically there's loads of individual attention. So our classes are capped at 16 students, so you get plenty of individual time with your lecturers, because everybody kind of learns in a different way, right, Ben? So
It's definitely it's a great environment to learn in, because you've got one-to-one kind of feedback from your lecturers during your classes. Plus you get the one-to-ones outside of that time. So.
Absolutely, 100%. People are going to have different sort of strengths and weaknesses, so we want to try and help you kind of, take it to the next stage in your music. So, we also think it's really important for our students to be able to use the latest kind of state-of-the-art equipment. So we partner with a lot of the biggest names in the industry, people like Logic and Ableton, of course. Pioneer kit out all of our DJ studios. You can see some of the equipment here. Loads of different hardware kit around as well for anyone who likes getting a bit more sort of hands-on with their productions. We've loads of different desks for people like companies, I should say, like SSL, Oram and Audience, just as an example. So loads of different pieces of gear to kind of get your hands on. So some of you joining us here today, you may have come into some of our actual in-campus open days previously and checked out our campus over at Orsman Road. But it's actually really exciting times, because we are just in the process of doing a massive refurb in our second campus, where Ben and I are at the moment, over in Penn Street, which is just around the corner. So Ben, I don't think you've actually been down just yet.
I haven't seen it yet, no. But I think, the DJ room is nearly ready to.
It's nearly ready to rock. Yeah. Absolutely. I was in there last week, actually. It's nearly finished. And we've got a little bit of a sneak peek for you today. So check it out on your screen there. You'll see we've got some blueprints. Basically, for anyone who may have come into our Orsman Road campus, to give you a bit of an idea, the new campus is going to be virtually twice the size of that. So we've taken over 2 different floors in this building just below us. I'm not joking when I say we have to put up maps because the area is so big for you to be able to kind of find your different studios to go in. So it's going to be an additional 19,000 square feet. We will be keeping the other campus as well, so students will have access to both. So basically what that means is you'll have 30,000 square feet worth of studios and different rooms for you to be able to kind of come into. You'll see here we'll have a brand new hub area with a performance stage with like a dedicated lighting rig and PA system to be able to kind of put on even more events for our students. And a bar, of course, which is always good news. There's just another angle of it that you can see there. So we'll have like a permanent stage set up, particularly for like our vocal performers to be able to work with the DJs as well. Yeah, we'll have 2 brand new massive recording studios with things like our SSL mixing desks, our Dolby Atmos monitoring systems and our Dante systems as well. Yeah, a second DJ studio for Ben and all his DJ students to be able to just get even more time to come in and practice, you know, work on your sets, do recordings and things like that as well. And yeah, different kind of study zones and areas that you'll be able to just kind of take advantage of when you're not in your actual classes. So it's going to be really exciting. I can't wait. So that's going to be up and running in the next few months, ready for our September term. So for anyone who's going to be joining us there, you'll be able to, yeah, to see it very soon. So what is included? So yeah, as I mentioned before, the studios are open 7 days a week. So you can book them out to kind of come in, work on your DJ sets or, you know, work on the tracks that you're producing. There's also loads of lab one-on-one time. So basically what that means is you can book out additional one-on-one sessions with our studio technicians. So if there's anything you're looking to kind of drill down on or just kind of close any gaps in your knowledge, you know, you can book these out either remotely or in the campus. Do them over Zoom as well, which can be handy if you need to travel quite far. You'll have regular one-on-one sessions with your lecturers, so with people like Ben and the other program leaders, just to kind of make sure that you're following all of the information from the courses as you're going along. All of our students also have access to our world-class virtual learning environment, or VLE. So basically what that is, it's how you can kind of access all of your course notes and material from your phone or a computer. If you're on the move, you'll have access to all your notes and the recordings from your classes from anywhere in the world if you ever want to kind of go back to them at a later date, just as a bit of a kind of a refresher, which can be really handy. We've also loads of guest lectures and master classes, which I'll go into in just a little bit more detail shortly. And also our student services and wellbeing teams. So if you ever need anything while you're studying, just let us know. So when you come and study with us, you'll be included in what we call our point blank ecosystem. So it's not just about, you know, working with other producers and DJs, but there's a whole variety of other people within the world of music. Ben kind of mentioned it in his video earlier, but I think one of the most important things when it comes to working in the industry is being able to kind of network and collaborate, right?
100%, yeah. And we've got so many different types of degrees that we run. Obviously, music business degrees, you know, students on that looking for people to manage, and vocal performance students, maybe singers looking for producers to work with. So there's a lot of sort of crossover there.
100%, yeah. We've got a range of different kind of pathways of our degrees, but we really want the students on the different pathways to work together. So we do that in a number of different ways with, you know, getting people to kind of collaborate and network. Because as you can see there, it's not just about people who are making music, but also people like content creators, for example, or people who are working in more of the business side of things. You know, people in your class might be starting their own labels in the next kind of, you know, months or years, and then you have an immediate contact when you're looking to get music out there to the masses. So that's one really important part of it, on top of your classes as well. Another thing that we really want to do is give you your foot in the door into the music industry and connect you with, you know, people within that world. So we do that in a number of different ways. One thing is we have like our listening sessions, which is really cool, where you can actually, you know, you can learn a lot from your lecturers, of course, but you can also feed back to each other and get really invaluable information and get more kind of collaboration and networking going as well. We also have different things like producer, songwriter, singer meetups, like Ben was talking about before. So you could be working on a track, want to work with the, you know, the next great big singers, for example. Showcases as well, and yeah, loads of different master classes. We think this is really important as well, where you can hear from people in the industry who've made it big. So just to give you an idea, in the last sort of 12 months, we've had people like Jonas Blue, Sama Abdul Hadi, Rudimental come in to talk to actual students in the studios and just give really invaluable advice. Now, one of the most important things about being a DJ is the ability to actually play out in front of a crowd, right, Ben? And I know that you're very involved in helping our students with that side of things too, right?
Yeah, we have termly events for the DJ students. Anyone studying a DJ module that particular term, there's always an end of term event where they get to play out. We've actually got one coming up in a few weeks at the Dream Bags Jaguar Shoes venue in Shoreditch, and that's like a kind of, students get to play sets, meet other students on different DJ modules that they might not have encountered yet on their degree because they might be at a different stage to the others. And we also have the VJ students often doing the visuals accompanying the DJ sets. And there's loads of other types of events like that where we ask DJ students to perform at the events, like the fabric showcase thing that we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally important. The events are obviously open to anyone as well. So if anyone's based around London, definitely come along and check out our students. But yeah, you can see on your screen there, we've got different massive places like Ministry of Sound, Fabric, XOYO, some of the biggest clubs around. Our students have had the opportunity to play out. And, just the more experience you have in front of a crowd, the better DJ you're going to become, right?
Definitely, yeah. It's all about getting the experience and dealing with those good gigs, but also maybe not so good gigs. It's all sort of character building.
It's all learning, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. Get your bombs out of the way early is probably the best advice, right?
Well, one of the things we do in the DJ classes is kind of back-to-back sessions to try and get those mistakes out of the way so that students learn, okay, I shouldn't be doing that in a live scenario. So that's part of the classes as well.
Excellent. Yeah. Absolutely. So, one of the really important things as well is that everybody who teaches with us is very much active in the industry. Probably has 10, 15 plus years. As a DJ, as a producer. So we think that's a really important part of it as well, to learn from people who aren't just lecturers, but actual musicians, producers, DJs, whatever it is. So Ben is absolutely no exception. So why don't you tell us a bit about your background? How'd you get into music?
I've always been surrounded by music, played, dabbled in a few different instruments as a sort of early teenager. Then I started learning to DJ just because friends bought decks. Learning at school, basically lunchtimes, pile around someone's house, trying to learn how to mix.
I remember that. I remember learning on my brother's belt drive, turntables all in one.
Ones, and then progressed to Technics. Got my own Technics 1210s. Did a degree in music technology many years ago as well. So I kind of learned, how to use back in the day Akai samplers and quite old technology now, but and started playing out sort of professionally, 25 years ago, and over the years done gigs, with other DJs, like as a duo, with MCs as sort of a backing DJ, as part of a band, scratching in a live sort of ska funk band, and also producing music over the years, doing remixes for people, having quite a lot of vinyl releases and sort of funk re-edits. That's one of the things I do quite often now.
Awesome stuff. Yeah. And we're going to check out you a little bit later on, showing us some of the stuff that you're famous for, right?
Famous might be over-egging it, but yeah.
Well, and one of the questions I suppose that we get asked from our students quite a lot of the time is if they're not exactly sure which degree might be best suited for them, what kind of person would this particular degree suit?
For basically anyone who's either maybe DJing already, but they want to take their skills a bit further, and they might, we get a lot of students who've only played on like a controller, but they want to learn how to use professional level sort of equipment. We get DJs who've been performing on vinyl for 20 years, but then they want to learn how to use the new digital sort of kit. But DJs, performers, producers, people who want to translate their music into a live performance scenario. So, because we've got a module called electronic music performance, so it might be producers, they're already producing, but they want to actually know how to use it, use hardware to bring that to life to a sort of stage performance. VJs, people who are interested in getting into the visual side of things. Sound designers, someone who might want to get into music industry sort of business. Really loads of different sort of
broads, right? Excellent stuff. Great. Well, we're going to dive into the course in a bit more detail now. Just as a reminder, I can see we've got some questions coming in. If you do have any questions at all for myself and Ben, get them in the chat room. We're going to have a Q&A in just a little while. But let's have a look at the degree itself. So starting at level 4, typically your first year, what kind of stuff could we, our students expect to be covering?
So level 4, you've got 6 modules. and there are threads throughout the degree. So you've got like essential DJ skills at level 4, which is the first DJ focused module, and then there's like music industry, which is one of the first business kind of focused modules, and then throughout the levels, those will there'll be other modules which will follow on from those. So music production in Logic or Ableton. So that's learning basics of music production, but even if you've been producing already for a number of years, you're going to learn stuff that you might not know, before you did that module.
Yeah.
Sound design, so how to design your own sounds rather than using presets, getting into a bit of synthesis, production styles. So
yeah, that's one that I'm a big fan of, actually, because we have students from all different backgrounds making every different style and genre of music. So this is really, it's kind of like looking at the different kind of techniques you can use to make different genres, right?
Yeah, so it's learning how to be versatile, really. It may be working outside of your comfort zone, and rather than just making tracks that you've been doing the same for years, trying to learn how to make a specific genre, looking into what makes a genre what it is, the key sort of characteristics of those.
Absolutely, and the influence as well, as you say, like nothing is new, as you said, it's all influenced by something else, right?
Of course, yeah.
Great stuff. And then looking into the second year, there's a bit of a thread, right? I mean, it's kind of moving on to more advanced modules in your second year, right?
Yeah, so marketing and branding, for example, is a module that follows on from the music industry module at level 4. So it's learning to develop a brand, around either a label or an artist. Whereas, art of mixing follows on from a little bit from music production, because you've learned maybe some very basic mixing techniques in that. And then art of mixing gets really deep into sort of how to balance tracks and get good mixes. Creative production and remix is a really good module. Which,
really, really useful as well, particularly for DJs, I think. One of the things I often say to our students is, like, if you're able to do like a remix for a more established artist, it can be a really great way of getting your name out there, right?
Yeah, there's plenty of stories where someone's done maybe an unofficial remix and it's got a bit of heat and got a bit popular, and then that original artist has heard it and thought, we'll commission that person to actually do an official remix because they did such a good job.
Just make sure you get cleared on the samples before you put anything else. Don't get yourself in trouble, right?
So you'll learn about that in music industry.
Of course, absolutely. And then, in your third year, this is kind of, I suppose, getting you ready to get yourself out there in the industry, right?
Yeah, definitely. So there's a professional portfolio module, which is spread across 2 terms. So that's one term is kind of doing the research, and it's specialising in an area of interest for you. So over the course of your degree, you might have realise you're really into a particular sort of area of the industry, and this allows you to really focus in on that specialism. Some people do an EP in a particular genre. Other people, pick a sort of a VJ related project. And similarly with Music Entrepreneur, it's sort of developing a personalised sort of plan, really. So how either a business plan or a plan for a label, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. I think one of the important things as well is that it's like all of the assignments are real world. So it's all really practical for one thing, but also super relevant to actually what you'll be doing in your own careers. So, leads us kind of nicely on to having a look at, because it's not just about being, just a producer or just a DJ. It opens up so many opportunities for different careers, right?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, lots of people working in the music industry, if you ask them, will probably say they're not necessarily doing what they originally set out to do, but they're still doing creative things that, their passion, but they've taken twists and turns along the way and ended up, what we call a portfolio career, where they might be doing a little bit of, a few different things. It's rare someone is literally just a techno producer and that's it. I mean, obviously there are techno producers. When you get to a certain level, then potentially that could be your thing. But it's good to have lots of different sort of skill sets so you can be versatile, really. Absolutely.
It's one thing that we try and instill in our students is to have as many different skill sets as possible, because that's kind of how you take it from whatever level you're at the moment to turning it into a career, which is why I think a lot of people come and study with us, right?
Definitely, yeah.
Brilliant. And I think we've got a bit of a portfolio actually of some of the assignments. Why don't you tell us what we're going to check out?
So these are some examples of previously assessed performances. So students who've done a performance in a particular performance-related module. So from some of the DJ modules, from electronic music performance, from the VJ skills module. These are actually like assessed performances that students have done as part of their degree.
Great stuff. Well, listen, I'm looking forward to this. Check it out and enjoy.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Let's go!
Sometimes I feel like I am losing my mind. But I can't leave
Suck off the realness. I got you suck off the realness.
Okay, there you go. Well, that will certainly wake you up, particularly the VJ module will get you through a Tuesday. Brilliant stuff. So that's all of our, well, it's a selection of some of our students, right?
Yeah, that's just a very, just a couple of examples. There's a very wide variation of different music styles that people use for their performances and
absolutely.
And visuals for the VJ thing.
Fantastic. And I think you're going to give us a bit of a demo of some of the things that you teach in your classes, right?
Yeah, obviously we should caveat this with, most DJ modules are 9 weeks long, and each lesson is 4 hours long, so we do go into a lot of depth with a lot of techniques. This is a whistle-stop tour of just a very few things that we would cover.
I'm going to step out of your way here, let you do your thing.
Yeah, so one example in the Essential DJ Skills module at level 4 is where we get students to, really learn about the structure of music, counting bars and beats and working out like how they should be transitioning between tracks. And one of the early sort of techniques that we look at is known as a drop mix, which even though it's a fairly basic technique, a lot of people do use it live because if you're playing with tracks you can't really beat match them for whatever reason. This is quite a useful technique and it really helps students who haven't beat matched properly before get used to counting bars, identifying where to set cue points properly, technically switching between tracks, rhythmically, so they're letting go of new tracks at the right point.
So it can be good for like if you're going between different styles too sometimes, right?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I did a gig recently where I'm playing lots of different genres and I couldn't really beat match them. Some of them are changing tempo, so it's a very risky thing to try and beat match when you've got changing, fluctuating tempos. So this is just one example where the track on the right, I would be counting the phrases of it and working out where's my 8-bar sections, and the track on the left is queued up from the drop of a a new section of that track basically. So it's a transition between two different tracks where they don't overlap, but you're still maintaining the musical structure. So for example, this one, I've been counting the bars, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just going to switch over when it gets to the end of this phrase. So I'm on bar 7, 8, 2, 3, 4, 1. So it just switches over. Now, that's just a very basic way of doing it. Always with a lot of, with techniques, you can embellish it a bit. So sometimes it might sound a bit abrupt to just go straight from one section to another. So with this track, for example, there's a little 2-beat section just before the drop. So that's, if you account for that, then instead of releasing that new track at the end of an 8-bar section of this, you release it 2 beats earlier than that. Then it kind of leads into that new one. It kind of makes the blend or the transition sound a little bit more subtle. Obviously, if it's like a vocal or something, you can also trigger it rhythmically over the outgoing track so that it makes it sound more like part of the mix. So just as an example, So it's still a phrase, but you've made it up out of 7.5 bars of this and 2 beats of that.
Yeah.
You know? So that's just one example from the essential DJ skills module. One of the other things we cover on that module is learning to beat match without looking at BPM counters. So
very important.
Yeah, so we're
Because
really...
you never know when the technology might fail, right? You know?
There's recent examples of that, which I won't go into now. Everyone probably knows what I'm talking about. But, learning to beat match by ear is always going to be, a skill that you've got with you, whereas learning to look at numbers is not necessarily.
And you're just going to be a better DJ in general if you can do it by ear, right?
It's just a safety net. You can always mix regardless of the technology or whether you've analysed your tracks or not. Yeah, we use BPM counters as well. We teach students how to use those, but just getting that skill of hearing whether beats are aligned properly is something that you wouldn't. Once you do it, it will never leave you, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So in the creative DJ skills module, that's the level 5 DJ skills module in your second year of the degree. That's where we get much more into creative techniques like harmonic mixing, so analysing the key of tracks, working out which ones are harmonically compatible. A cappella mixing, things like that, where you're getting a vocal in time with a beat and then maybe pitch shifting it and really creating a live remix basically on the fly.
Yeah.
So an example of that, if I just go to my playlists here, this tune is a drum and bass tune. Then I've got this a cappella here. What we always teach students is, right, okay, if that BPM counter there is not telling you the right answer, how would you detect the speed of this a cappella? So I would be maybe tapping along with it to work out like what the tempo is. So it's telling me it's 86 beats per minute, which is kind of probably half of what this drum and bass track is. This is a good example as well. The BPM readout of this is wrong because it's not been analysed properly. So if you can use your ears, you can't go wrong. So here you've also got to think about where would I cue this in from. So where's the downbeat of that a cappella? And then beat match it. Then obviously you could add maybe some effects. So just get some echo on it. Now filter it. Catch it. You can really shape the sound and make it into something completely
100%.
different from the original.
You never need to have the same set twice, right? You're only limited by your own creativity.
Exactly, yeah. What we try and teach students is lots and lots of different techniques. Some of them are going to be relevant for certain genres. Some of them might not be relevant for that particular DJ, but you'll have a lot of different techniques at your disposal. So when you're on a certain kit that limits what you can do, you've at least got a few things you can do. And if you're on the best setup, you've got loads and loads of different techniques you can use. One thing we always try and do is encourage students to learn the various ways of doing the same thing. So there's lots of examples where the technique came from an older bit of hardware. Then there's been updates and obviously newer bits of kit, and it's all been made very easy to do. So like queuing, for example, pressing the cue button is quite easy, right? But back in the day on turntables, you'd have to physically learn how to rock the beat and release it accurately. As we know, cue buttons go wrong quite often.
And so do vinyl records, though.
Yeah, true. But that's an example of if you get good at queuing manually and you're able to rhythmically keep stuff in time, that's not only is that sort of starting to learn how to scratch, but it also means if you get on a setup where the cue button's misfiring, you can rely on your own technical skill and not just the button.
Absolutely.
One example of that, for example, is like which a lot of students quite often they're a bit resistant to this, but then when they start practicing it, they actually really enjoy doing it, is like manually looping between tracks. So on a CDJ, you've got a loop function, which you can just press in and out. It's fairly easy to press in and out, right? If you wanted to loop on turntables, you would have to actually physically loop those two tracks. So we look at how to, count the bars in terms of how many rotations the track is making. So if I'm using 1 bar of this, I'd be looking at how many times that turns. So it's about 1 1/4, right? And then we're kind of learning how to play one side then the other side, then rewind this side. Looks easy, it isn't. But
And you don't need two records as well, two of the same record.
no, not well. Now you can obviously play the same track off one hard drive on both decks.
Yeah.
So that's a very basic example of manually looping. Then you can start adding in little trills and extra bits, maybe catching snares.
Nice.
And even a lot of students, they haven't even thought about doing that, and then once they start doing it, it's actually quite therapeutic because you get in the zone. And
I think another thing is we find that a lot of our students maybe have experience with like controllers, using like Serato or record box, and then when they get their hands on actual vinyl, they just fall in love with it, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we always get students who really want to focus on turntables, or the opposite, and they've only used turntables and they want to
learn the newer kit as well. Absolutely, yeah. I think the idea is by the end of it that it doesn't matter what setup a club has. You know what I mean? It's just all about having the confidence to just go in there with your music and you're ready to go, right?
Yeah, definitely. We've got a range of different setups, so I always encourage students to try everything, because even if it's a Pioneer mixer and it's a slightly different model, it might have buttons in slightly different places, or you don't want to be just relying on one single bit of kit, because it can really throw you if you have to use a different bit of kit. And it's always new bits of kit are coming out all the time, so we're always trying to keep on top of having the latest stuff so that we can say, right, that's what you're going to find in venues. The problem is, not all venues have the latest kit. If they did, our job would be a lot easier. They have a massive range of different bits of kit. For up to the advanced module that we teach, that gets into using software like Tractor, Recordbox, Serato, some more advanced techniques, things like scratching, which even though a lot of people think, well, I don't need to learn how to scratch, it often will get people who really get into it and think, actually, I could use this in my set, even though I'm not a hip hop DJ. I could add, effects to it and make it sound more like part of the track.
Yeah, and it's going to make you stand out, I think, as well, is really important, right?
Of course, yeah. So anything that makes your skill level better, really. One classic thing is the crossfader. I get so many students who say, I don't use that. And it's like, well, what you're missing out on a big creative feature of a mixer there. That's something that you can gate the sound with. You can combine it with channel faders or EQs or effects, or if you don't know how to do it properly, you're obviously never going to use it. But we teach students how to, chop sound properly. So, for example, like the transformer scratch, where we're using the thumb on the crossfader like this, and even though I'm doing it with a scratch sample there, I often use that on a track. So I want to gate the sound and get that out of the mix by chopping it and fading it and things like that. But yeah, we do get into some more high level scratching techniques, like things like the flare scratch, where we're learning to kind of chop the fader off and on rather than on and off. So the transformer click is where you're chopping sound on and off, whereas the flare is where you're chopping sound off and on like this. So you kind of get this. So, we do sort of allow students to follow the sort of techniques that they really want to practice more of. Often students will say, look, I don't want to really get into scratching, but then they can focus on maybe turntables or a separate area that they're more interested in. There's obviously a structure to the modules and assignments that students have to do, but it's flexible. Basically, we have to differentiate between students. One example, another scratch technique, the crab scratch. That's kind of what a lot of students who are into scratching want to learn about, and that's similar to the flare, because you can do a flared version of it, but it's kind of like flicking the crossfader. So you're like flicking between, thumb and fingers to make the fader open and shut really quickly. And everything that goes with it. There's just so many settings on the mixer that can affect other settings. So it's learning the real, the way around the mixer and how to make things do what you want them to do. Especially, on CDJs, there's so many settings that can be not how you like them, and that if you get to a venue and it's not doing what you expect it to do, it can be really disorientating. So you want to go in there and know, right, I need to change this, or I can load my settings onto my key You know, all of that sort of stuff is what we teach, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, this is also a music production degree as well. So today we're just kind of focusing a little bit more on the DJ side of things,
Yeah.
but the production side, we go into massive detail as well. The idea being that you can make professional quality music that you could play out in one of your DJ sets, send to labels, for example. One of the things that fascinates me is, you know, as the technology kind of evolves, I feel at least that the world of DJing and production get kind of closer and closer together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's so many links between, you know, the modules, like what I was doing there with the acapella mixing. That's doing a live remix,
Yeah.
whereas the creative production remix module, you know, if you've done that live with acapellas, it's going to help you do that in the module where you need to get acapellas in time
Sure,
with the
yeah.
production, and they're all interchangeable skills. It's all music at the end of the day. It's just, are you controlling it via a DAW, or are you controlling it via hardware turntables? Or
100%, and that's one of the things that we also look at in the electronic music performance module as well. It's kind of using a combination of, I guess, DJ techniques with production techniques.
Yeah, definitely. So it's that's where you kind of learn to build your own performance instruments. So choosing various bits of hardware that you might want to use in conjunction with either Ableton Live or Logic. You know, it might be samplers or machine or whatever it may be. You might be a singer and you want to do live looping and have your Ableton project running and do stuff over that. But yeah, they're all, again, it's like knowing your way around what filters do. It's the same on a bit of hardware compared to a DJ mixer, isn't it?
Absolutely. Well, hopefully that's given you a bit of an insight. You'll have to come and study with us to see the rest of it, right? Because that was obviously a very small snapshot of what we cover over the kind of the 3 years. But thank you so much indeed. Hopefully people are clapping from home. I'll give you a little clap right now.
You. I won't bow.
But yeah, listen, thank you very much indeed. We are going to jump right into our Q&A section. I know a few of you have had questions come in already. If you've got any more, just get them in right now, and we'll grab a seat if you're ready, Ben. And I'll get my Q&A section up and running here. Give me one sec. Brilliant. So yeah, thanks again so much for all your engagement and for Luke for talking to you in the chat room. So yeah, let's just dive straight in. So we've got a question here from Meredith, who's asking about the entry requirements to join the course. Sounds like she's doing her mocks at the moment. So typically we'd be looking for the equivalent of 2 Cs at A level. We can also take into consideration other qualifications. So for example, if you're studying like a BTEC extended diploma, we'd normally be looking for 2 merits. For anyone who's joining us who hasn't studied in the UK, we can also accept international qualifications from pretty much anywhere. If you're not sure about any of them, don't worry, just get in touch. We can kind of have a look and just see how they sort of equate to the UK system, to our own sort of entry requirements. I guess on top of that, you know, one of the other really important things is to be able to demonstrate your passion for music and your desire to kind of get into the industry. So we ask our students to submit a portfolio of work. So yeah, I don't know, Ben, do you want to give us a bit of, you know, an idea of what we're looking for in the portfolio?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously someone who's already using a DAW or they've shown some sort of musical ability. It depends if they're applying for the 2-year pathway. Obviously, we look for them to be a bit more proficient because they're going to have to literally hit the ground running and do 3 modules per term in their first 2 terms. But yeah, just it could be that they've shown lots of evidence of DJ skills and obviously they play a musical instrument and they've already got music theory knowledge. But sort of anything that proves their passion and sort of knowledge of music, really.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think, you know, one thing to sort of stress is that we don't expect anyone to be a professional at this stage, because you wouldn't need us if you were, of course, you know what I mean? It's really more about just being able to sort of show us what you've done yourself in your own kind of career. You don't necessarily need to have studied music formally. I think somebody asked that a little bit earlier before. We can take into consideration any tracks you've made yourself. So if you've got like some software like Ableton or FL Studio, for example, and you're starting to put some ideas together, that's great. We want to hear them. DJ sets, of course. So if you've got anything up on like Mixcloud or SoundCloud or like a YouTube channel or TikTok channel, whatever it may be, anything just sort of tangible you can send across, just, you know, showing us what you've done and why you want to come and study with us, essentially. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Yeah, I think, another just a follow up, is the campus accessible for disabled people, wheelchair users? 100%. Both of our campuses are fully accessible, so no problem there. We also have special kind of setups if you may need them, so no issues with that whatsoever. Cool. Simon's asking, when is our next open day in London? So we've actually got one on Saturday. I think it may be fully booked. Might be able to squeeze you in, Simon, but if not, we'll have another one on the 22nd of June and the 17th of August. Leah's asking about UCAS points. So yeah, I mean, I think I kind of went through it in a bit more detail. Like, the UCAS points are one part of it. If you are looking to apply through UCAS, that's totally fine. Normally what we would do is when the admissions team start reviewing your applications, we'll reach out to you directly, and then you can send across your portfolio for Ben and the lecturers to kind of check out. We may also ask you to take part in an interview, just to have a chat with you, find out a bit more about your experience, right, and what you're looking to do.
Yeah, it's always good to sort of get a sense and meet the person and find out a little bit about what they've done in the past. Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Great. We've got a question here about here from Wabble, I think is the name. For the DJ courses, do you need to be musical? In brackets, read and write music? No, is the short answer. Absolutely not. You don't need to play an instrument or anything like that. It's just about passion. You know what I mean? We can kind of teach you everything else. We do have a couple of modules that are all around music composition. So what we find is that sometimes our students might be coming from more of a technical background, and that's totally cool, because the composition modules will help you with more on the musicality side of things like structure and arrangements, chords, riffs, melodies, all that side of things. So that's all good. Cool. I got a question here from Storm. Hey, Storm. Good to hear from you again. Yeah, he's asking about how much written work is there in the assignments. Ben, you're probably best to ask that.
Yeah, normally a module might have two components. So the assignments at the end of term, or sometimes midway through the term, you have to submit assignments. But normally the bulk of the grade will come from a performance or a practical-based assignment, like a project or a tune that you need to make. But there might be a written component which is worth 20 or 30%. So I couldn't tell you exactly how many written components there are.
It can kind of vary module by module, right?
Some modules only have one component and it's just a sort of portfolio.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be a written case study, for example, but they're all based around stuff related to music. So,
absolutely,
learning about an artist or an album and
Yeah.
writing about it. It's all sort of relevant stuff that would help you in your career, really.
I would say, broad strokes, it's probably roughly 80% practical work, about 20% written, but that can kind of vary, because we'd say like a DJ module would be more practical versus a business related module.
Yeah.
So that's where I but yeah, the big focus really is on the practical side, right?
Yeah, but yeah, the DJ modules do have written components, but it's things like where you have to evaluate your mix that you've produced, which helps you kind of become more critical and develop critical listening skills. And so all of our assignments are designed to help you become, a better producer, basically.
Yeah, absolutely right. Okay, great. So we got a question from Tegan asking, do you tailor your lessons to folks who've been DJing live for some years, so with more experience, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously always a range of different ability levels in a class. So, you get students starting at level 4 who've been DJing professionally for years. So obviously they know about counting bars and beats, but it might be they want to focus more on turntables or different sort of things they want to go into.
Yeah.
There's a structure, and obviously there are assignments which have to be done, but there's always an element of differentiation when you're teaching. You have to be able to cater for, it might be that I'll be giving that person a bit of a more advanced variation of the technique to practice so they can get better at what, from where they are, compared with the student who's literally never touched decks before, and they're given a much more easy version of the
Absolutely,
task.
and I think that's why we teach in the small classes as well, so you have that kind of flexibility with it, right?
Yeah, and it gets obviously progressively more challenging. So you might be fine at level 4 because you can DJ already and mix, but then when you get into the creative and advanced modules, that's where you might be, learning much more stuff.
Yeah, so, absolutely, great stuff. Cool. We got a question from Sir Sinkalot. Which is an awesome name.
Great name.
They are asking, do you offer an online only or dual possibility? So for this particular degree, it would need to be done in our London campus. I'm not sure where you're based, but one thing to bear in mind is that we do kind of record the majority of our classes as well. So if you happen to, miss one, you can watch it back. But for this particular program, we'd be very happy to welcome you to come and join us in the campus here in London.
Worth mentioning, if you couldn't do the degree in the campus in London, we have got 2 online DJ modules which are kind of standalone.
Yeah. Exactly right.
shorter
We
ones.
do have kind of shorter courses if you just wanted to improve your skills. So, cool. We got a question from AB. Do we own the rights to the music we create during the course? Absolutely. Yeah. Totally. It's all yours. We're not going to do that unless, of course, you wanted to release something on our record label, but that's a different kind of a thing.
Yeah.
One thing I think I forgot to mention before, we do have an in-house record label. So for any of our students who are looking to kind of get music released, we can help you out with that side of things as well. The track at the very start of the event, in fact, is one of our students' tracks out on the label if you want to check that out as well. Cool. Tintin is asking, is there a limit how many hours per week they can book studios? So typically students can book out 5 sessions a week. They're normally like 4-hour blocks, so you can book out these studios or the DJ room. If there's availability on the day, you can book out additional ones as well. So you can literally come in 7 days a week if you wanted to. Some people like to hang around after the lectures. Some people like to come in beforehand and work on their tracks. So we try and keep it pretty flexible because we're open like till late, throughout the week as well. Cool. Let's have a look here. Oh yeah, this is one we kind of get asked a lot from Ali. Before joining the course, is there any requirements to know how to use the equipment and software, or is it taught from scratch?
Yeah, all of those level 4 modules kind of start from scratch, but obviously the more you can do before coming to study with us to get your sort of skills up a bit would be an advantage, because it means you're not literally learning where to open a new project and things. But yeah, as I said, differentiation means that we have to cater for students who might not have ever touched music production software before, but obviously the onus is on them to study outside of their class time and practice as much as they can to get their skills up to the level where maybe their classmates are already at.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So we got a question here from Tegan asking about working while studying. Tegan is an international student. So yeah, that's fine. Normally international students can can work rather part-time. So that's 20 hours a week during term time. And then if you're having a break over the summer, for example, you can actually work a bit more. So yeah, like a lot of our students have kind of work in like, bars, cafes, or weekend jobs and stuff like that, just to kind of help you out with that. Obviously if you get work within the music industry, even better, with gigs and different things like that as well. So it can be possible, but obviously not working full time while you're studying with us. Michael's asking when he can have access to the VLE. Sounds like Michael's going to be joining us. So I'm afraid you won't be able to use the studios until you start your course, which is probably going to be in September. But don't worry, you'll have absolutely loads of time once you do get started with your course. We've got a question here just about scholarships. We've a number of different scholarships and bursaries available. There's too much kind of to go into at the moment at this event because there's a load of different criteria. But maybe Luke can link to the scholarships page if anyone wants to check it out in the chat. That would be fantastic. But if you have any questions, just get in touch. Be very happy to answer. And then, I think we have one question here from Meredith just asking, can you practice on vinyl DJ or only digital? So I think we kind of went through that, but...
Yeah, we've got analog turntables, we've got Pioneer PLX 1000s in the DJ studio, we've got Technics 1210s, we've got Serato, Record Box and Tractor, so there's DJ students at the moment who, every lesson they'll use the turntables, but they're using it with timecode vinyl and triggering music from the computer. So it's both. Some people more want to focus on CDJs, others want to focus on turntables. Some do a bit of, certain techniques. I'll probably say, well, this technique's probably better to practice on CDJs, but it's flexible, yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, as I said before, the idea is just to kind of cover all of your bases so you can just go out and play on any set. So thank you very much indeed for everyone who's asked questions. That's just about all the time that we have right now. Don't worry, if you have any more questions at all, we'll follow up with you. Just get in touch. We'll be very happy to help you out. So last thing is just for me to say a massive thank you to everyone who's helped out today, all of our video crew behind the scenes, to Luke who's been helping out with the Q&A and the chat. Of course, special thanks to Ben for being here, telling us more about the degree, and to you. Oh, pardon me. Sorry about that. For everyone joining us here today, thank you very much indeed. Hopefully we'll see a lot of you in the near future, but if you do have any questions at all, just get in touch on email or give us a call. And yeah, lastly, just wanted to leave you with, one of the most important things and how we like to be judged is by what our students have kind of gone on to do since studying with us. So we've got a little show reel ready for you, just to kind of check out and have a look at what some of our alumni have gone on to do after finishing their studies. So hopefully you'll recognise a few faces, and yeah, we'll hear from you soon. Thank you very much again.
Ain't nobody loves me better, makes me happy, makes me feel this way.
I think that I found myself a cheerleader. She is always right there when I need her.
Just noise, white noise. Just noise, white noise. I'm hearing static, you're like an automatic. You just wanna keep me on repeat and hear me crying. Get out right now, it's the end of you and me. It's too late and I can't wait for you to be gone. Take me.
Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Everybody come around with round. Everybody feel it come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Everybody get down when we give it to you.
Everybody feel it come around with round. Everybody feel it come around with round. Everybody feel it come around with round.
Everybody in the bump. Everybody in the bump. Everybody in the bump. Everybody in the bump.